It's my pleasure to introduce to you Rich Pezzullo.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you very much for coming out. How's everybody feeling? Are we glad finally sitting in a really nice place like this? Okay, good. Let me start off, first of all, personally saying if you voted for me in the June 4th primary, thank you very much. We came within 3,000 votes. And nobody worked harder than me to keep Jeff Bell from becoming the nominee. With that being said, I have to explain to you why the guy who worked hardest to keep him from being the nominee is out here working up and down New Jersey, east and west, trying to help him become the next United States Senator. A lot of that comes from the fact that in the campaign trail, we spent a lot of time in the back room waiting for our chance to come up and speak. And that's when you really get to know somebody, because they're off their talking points. They're talking about traffic. They're talking about the reporters they were talking to. They're talking about what fun. We're talking about our families, and you really get to know the character of the people that you're dealing with. And rather than try and explain that to you, let me tell you what happened in my heart. On election night, I was down by 3,000 votes. I sent the press to bed, refusing to concede the election. I woke up the next morning, I called the Associated Press and I said, I'm having a press conference at the Monmouth County Board of Elections, and I'm going to be talking about the military ballot, the mail-in ballot, the provisional ballot. Smelling blood in the water, the press turned up at 2 o'clock. TV was there, radio was there, newspapers were there, bloggers were there. I wasn't there. At about 5 after 2, I walked out from the parking lot with Jeff Bell and handed him his first best attended press conference of this election. Totally snookered the press, and we continue to use those same type of grassroots guerrilla techniques all over the state to help get the word out that the Republican Party has a candidate on the ballot that's bringing traditional conservative Republican values as the playbook to solve our nation's problems. And the reason I was able to do that so comfortably, after running my campaign, that's the message I ran on. Right now, we've lost control of our Senate. They've abdicated all of their oversight. They've abdicated all of the jobs they're supposed to be doing and spend most of their time trying to just give themselves more power over the people. The government is completely out of control, right? The executive branch is doing what it wants, whenever it wants, even when it's clear it's overstepping its bounds. And we need to send responsible, committed conservatives that are willing to stand up, kick butt, take names, and not let anybody push them around. And that doesn't change because Jeff Bell won the primary. Now here's a guy who's an Ivy League graduate, an Army officer, fought in the Vietnam War, came home from war, went to work with Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. He's a bright guy too. He helped Reagan actually take the ideas of conservative economics, tax cuts, working with letting people keep more of their money to grow the economy, and put those into words that other people could understand and spread that message. And by working with him for years, I actually helped Ronald Reagan win the nomination. He followed Ronald Reagan into the White House, and here's something interesting. A lot of people know Jeff Bell is the guy who took on Clifford Case, right? Then lost to Bill Bradley. What they don't know is he's also the guy that worked with Bill Bradley, reaching across the aisle to take those same economic ideas he helped develop and cultivate and nurture and grow and turn them into what became the Reagan Revolution. That's what we're talking about, being able to work across the aisle, being able to take our principles, our ideas, our values, and turn them into effective federal legislation that will in fact make this country freer, better, more prosperous, and a nicer place for our children. And from the deepness of my heart, I couldn't think of anybody better to be running for the United States Senate than the guy who won the nomination. Now, God works in strange ways. He put a guy in this place who's 70 years old. Most of us are thinking about retiring when they're 70, not coming in and trying to take on a race like this. But Jeff's specialty, what he's been doing is trying to get economic and conservative policies enacted in legislation. And the only way to really get people's attention is to be the candidate. Didn't want to be a lobbyist. You need to be the candidate. You need to get the party behind you saying, we the people believe in this message. And that's what he did. So he came back to New Jersey and he took on this challenge. And what we're doing as our party is saying, we have a chance to take our seat. This is our Senate seat. This is not Cory Booker's seat. This is not Hollywood's seat, although they bought it and paid for it and handed it to Cory Booker. This is our seat. And this year, through the results of being able to work in our local campaigns, riding the anti-Obama wave, we're actually going to be able to take that seat back and give it to a responsible, committed conservative who's going to take the Republican playbook and turn that into the way to fix our economy. Because that's what Jeff knows how to do. He's advised presidents, congressmen, business leaders on the proper way, the proper role of the government and the economy. And he's sticking to those issues, because you can talk about a lot of other things, but if our money becomes worthless, if the money we've saved becomes without value, what have we got? We don't have a country to pass on to our children. And that's why the most important thing we have to do is get the people back in control of their own money. And also make sure that our government takes responsibility, our Senate does its job. And knowing all of that, and knowing that's the character of the man that came to New Jersey, we have the opportunity this year, because of a lot of circumstances that are working well in our direction. Some places have this in a single-digit race. We can actually do this. Cory Booker is a myth. Think about this. Last year, when Cory Booker was running, Mr. Twitter God, Mr. Most Popular Rising Star in the Democrat Party, Mr. Popularity, he went through this state, north and south, raised millions of dollars. He was up against Steve Lonegan at a time when the Republican Party, those evil Republicans, had closed the government. Everything was going for Cory Booker. You know what he was able to do? He was able to win that Senate seat by 12 points. That's the best he could do with all that money, with all that popularity. What I'm telling you is the people of New Jersey are smarter than we give them credit for. And we give them a candidate that has the message and the commitment and the demonstrated capabilities. And we go out with our commitment to make this election a Republican election, from town council to freeholder, all the way up to congressman and senate. They'll see that coming away from us, and they'll go out and vote. The enemy this year is not Cory Booker. The enemy this year is voter apathy. And we have the ability, through the candidates up and down the ballot, to mobilize and motivate our neighbors to ignore that apathy, push it aside, take charge of your life, not be a complainer, be a voter, own the government that people fought and gave to you. And that's what we can do. If each and every one of us commits to getting 10 voters to the polls, get them an absentee ballot, talk to them every day between now and then. Between Jeff and I, we got 80,000 votes. If the people that voted for just he and I got 10 people to the polls, that's 800,000 votes in an election where less than 2 million are going to be cast. And the rest of the margin we can certainly close. That's how easy it is if we just do our job. So if you can do that, personally commit to 10 people. Think about it. You know 10 people that you can call. And I'm not saying strangers, people you know, but just make sure that they vote. And then once you're doing that and you're talking to them and they see that you're really inspired this year, see if they can get 10 people, because it's just that easy. We can really do this year. It's going to be a low turnout election. The motivated Republicans talking to their friends, convincing them that apathy has gotten what we got. Apathy gave us Barack Obama. Apathy gave us Cory Booker. Apathy gave us Harry Reid. Apathy gave us Nancy Pelosi. And we're going to take it on this year. And we're going to do that, most importantly, with our local candidates, because everybody knows them and everybody wants to get them in office. Our freeholder candidates, because they have issues that affect everybody in the county that nobody else can handle except them. And that's where the compassion and the neighborhood connection comes in, and we can get our friends out. And most importantly, we can be talking about the top of the ticket with getting our economy fixed, because we're going to be able to be sending this man right here. Come on in, Jeff. And the guy.
That was a great
I'm sorry. This is the Jeff. This guy right here, Jeff Bell, United States Senate. So let's do that, please.
You know, it's often occurred to me since June 3rd that with opponents like Rich Pezzullo, I don't need all that many friends.